Erin Bradrick, Senior Counsel at NEO Law Group in San Francisco. In this video, we'll be talking about fiscal sponsorship. Fiscal sponsorship is essentially a relationship that allows charitable activities to be carried out by an individual or an organization with the benefit of the tax-exempt status of an existing 501c3 sponsor organization. Fiscal sponsorship is widely used in the nonprofit sector, and when it's done right, it can be a great tool for advancing your charitable goals. Unfortunately, however, fiscal sponsorship is often done wrong, which can lead to problems for both the sponsor organization and the sponsored project, as well as for donors. With that in mind, let's talk about a few tips for doing fiscal sponsorship right. Number one, make sure you understand what form of fiscal sponsorship you're entering into. Because fiscal sponsorship isn't defined by the law, it can take many forms. Probably the most common form is comprehensive fiscal sponsorship, where your project becomes an internal program of the sponsor. Because it has no separate legal existence, your project will not be responsible for any of its own legal or tax filings. Another common fiscal sponsorship model is a pre-approved grant relationship. In this model, your project remains a separate entity that will be responsible for meeting all of its own legal and tax filing requirements, but it receives funds raised for the project from the sponsor in the form of grants. Number two, pick the right fiscal sponsor. When selecting a fiscal sponsor, you'll want to look for more than just the sponsor with the lowest administrative fees. Consider whether the fiscal sponsor has a history of successful fiscal sponsorship, and whether you trust the sponsor to provide the appropriate level of oversight without unnecessarily interfering in the day-to-day operations of your charitable activities. And number three, have a written contract with the fiscal sponsor. The contract should lay out the terms of the relationship, and if it's a comprehensive fiscal sponsorship, should include an exit provision that allows you to spin off the project to another fiscal sponsor or independent nonprofit at a later time. It may be a good idea to have a nonprofit attorney review the contract before signing it. Fiscal sponsorship can be a great option when you're first starting a charitable venture, especially if you want the project to remain fairly small initially, or if the project has a large fundraising opportunity before you'll be able to obtain tax-exempt status. However, it's important to make sure that you do fiscal sponsorship right. We hope that this has been helpful, and stay tuned for our next video on tips for nonprofits.